Okay, class, picking up where we left off at. We're on problem number 3. We have positive 16 over 27 divided by negative 8 over 15. So we keep the first fraction the same, change division to multiplication, and take the reciprocal of the second fraction. Okay, now we're going to multiply here. We have 16 times 15, which is 240. All over 27 times a negative 8, which will give us a negative 216. Now, we need to simplify this. We need to figure out what is the greatest common factor that both of these terms have in common. Now, if you look here, our greatest common factor would be 24. So we divide the numerator and denominator by 24. Now 24 divided by 240 divided by 24 is 10. Negative 216 divided by 24 is a negative 9. So this is our final answer, a negative 10/9. Now we come here to number 4. Now we do the same thing here. We'll write the first fraction the same. And we'll change division to multiplication and take the reciprocal of the second fraction. Now, what we need to do is this here. We're going to multiply straight across. 21 times 25 is 525. X squared times y is x squared y. Divided by 10 times 14 is 140. And y times x is xy. Now remember, in the last problem we encountered like this with the variables, I just told you to expand the variables first before we even got into doing the greatest common factor of the numbers. So we had x squared, which would be x times x, and we have our y, and then we have xy here. These x's will simplify out, these y's will simplify out. So we have 525x all over 140. Now we need to divide these numbers by their greatest common factor, which is 35. So we divide the numerator and denominator by 35. 525 divided by 35 is 15. And we also bring our x. 140 divided by 35 is 4. And this is our final answer because they have nothing else in common. So it's 15x divided by 4. Now, we scroll here to our next page. It says evaluate using the order of operations. Now, we know in the order of operations, when we have multiplication and division, we do whichever one comes first from left to right. So we have multiplication, so we would do that first. 3 times 8 is 24, and 4 times 9 is 36, and that's divided by 2/5. Now, what I would suggest we do here is, before we divide it by 2/5, let's simplify this. The greatest common factor of 24 and 36 we know is 12. So I'm going to rewrite this. It'll be 24 over 36, divide both of these by 12. 24 divided by 12 is 2, and 36 divided by 12 is 3. And I'll bring down this 2/5. Now, we will add 2/3 multiplied by the reciprocal of 2/5, which is 5/2. Now, 2 times 5 is 10, and 3 times 2 is 6. Now, 10 and 6 both has 2 in common. So we divide both by 2, and we'll be left with 5/3. Now we come here to problem number 6. Now again, we have multiplication and division. We do whichever one comes first from left to right. This time division came first. But before we do that, let me adjust this so this could also be a fraction, this 1. So we have 1 over 1 divided by 3/4 times 2/3. So now, we will keep the first fraction the same. Division becomes multiplication. And we'll take the reciprocal of the second fraction. Now, since we have all multiplication here, we could just multiply straight across. 1 times 4 is 4, times 2 is 8. 1 times 3 is 3, times 3 is 9. So your final answer here is 8/9. Now we come down here to objective E. It says solving problems. To find a fraction of a number, multiply the fraction by that number. Now we have find 3/5 of 40. Of, the word of in most of your math problems, well, I say a lot of your math problems, the word of means multiplication. So this would be 3/5 times 40. Now, we want to make this 40 into a fraction, so we'll make that 40 over 1. 3 times 40 is 120, and 5 times 1 is 5. Now, 120 and 5 both have 5 in common. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 120 divided by 5 is 24. So 24 over 1 is just 24. Now we come to number 2. It says a salesman gets paid a commission of 2/15 of the total amount of sales. Last week he sold $4,800 worth of merchandise. What was his commission? So we know in this instance of means multiplication. So we add 2/15 times 4,800. And we'll put that over 1 so we can multiply. 2 times 4,800 is 9,600. And 15 times 1 is 15. Now, both of these have 15 in common. Now, we could divide that. 9,600 divided by 15 will give us 640. All over 15 divided by 15 is 1. So our final answer will give us $640. And that would be his commission. Now we scroll down here. It says Sam bought 6 packages of hamburger at the supermarket. If each package contained 3/4 pounds of meat, how much hamburger did Sam buy in all? So he bought 6 packages of hamburger, and each package contained 3/4 pounds of meat. So what we would have to do is take 6 times 3/4. Now, we'll make this 6 over 1, and we'll multiply. 6 times 3 is 18, and 1 times 4 is 4. So now we could divide the numerator and denominator by 2, which is their greatest common factor, and that would give us 9/2. So it would be 9/2 pounds. That's how much Sam bought. Okay, now we come to number 4. It says find the area of a sheet of wood that is 7/6 yards wide and 4/3 yards long. So first of all, a sheet of wood is typically in the shape of a rectangle. So we need to do the area of a rectangle, which we know is length times width. So now we would substitute. It tells us the length is 4/3 and the width we know is 7/6. Now we multiply. 4 times 7 is 28 and 3 times 6 is 18. Now I should have put yards in these parentheses, but you can add that into your notes that this was actually yards. So this would be square yards. Now 28 and 18, the greatest common factor of 28 and 18 is 2. So we divide both of these by 2, and your area would be 14 over 9 square yards. And that would be your final answer. Now, we scroll here to the next page. It says 5. In the primary election, 5 candidates competed for their party's nomination. The circle graph pie chart shows the fraction of the votes each candidate is expected to receive based on telephone surveys. If 200,000 people vote, this is how they will vote here. Okay, now we need to scroll down here. It says, how many votes would Mr. Williams expect? Now remember, we'll go to Mr. Williams. He has 1/4. So it'll be 1/4 of the 200,000 people that were called. So it'll be 1/4 times 200,000. We'll put that over 1. So now we multiply. We add 200,000 divided by 4. Now we know here that the greatest common factor of 200,004 is 4. 200,000 divided by 4 is 50,000. And 4 divided by 4 is 1. So Mr. Williams would expect 50,000 votes. Okay, now we go here to B. How many votes would Miss James expect? Now we need to look at Miss James. Miss James expects 3/20 of the vote. So we need to take 3 over 20 times 200,000. And we'll put that over 1. Now we can multiply straight across. 3 times 200,000 is 600,000. And 20 times 1 is 20. Now if we look here with 600,000 and 20, the greatest common factor is 20. 20 divided by 20 is 1. Now we have 600,000 divided by 20. Now if you cannot do this in your head, I'm going to go over here to the side and we could divide this out. 20 goes into 60 3 times. And we know we will put all these zeros in these placeholders because this is 0. So 20 goes into 600,000 30,000 times. And 30,000 divided by 1 is 30,000. So Miss James would expect 30,000 votes. And that is the final answer here.